in the industry wants to be the AI first. So I think AI can throw an all new course in 2 minutes to hit that code.
But really, what excites me about the Articulate ecosystem is that it is AI is embedded not just for your your creation of initial draft. It's a broader workflow. It addresses a lot of your problem.
Analysis that data with the AI that you can create new things for all the type of audience we have, because we don't have one type of audience. We have a lot of audience that have passion difference.
But one thing where India has its own lovely chaos is the number of languages that people speak in this country. If my understanding is correct, in Mexico mostly Spanish is the language which would.
Hello and welcome to yet another insightful conversation by Stratbeats. Today, we are asking a question that every L&D team lead needs to hear. Is artificial intelligence making us better at learning design or just faster at producing content that nobody finishes? AI has made content creation really fast. A course outline in seconds, a quiz in seconds, a voiceover, translation, image, idea, storyboard, everything within seconds. But here's the uncomfortable question. Are we creating better learning experiences or are we stuck in a trap of just creating more content? That is the double-edged sword we are unpacking today. Today we are joined by Monica Vazquez, an e-learning developer and instructional designer from Mexico, and rise on the scene by winning our Articulate Hackathon. Monica brings a powerful creative lens to the learning design, blending storytelling, UX learning, gamification, visual design, accessibility, and digital learning craft. She represents the new age learning creator, someone who does not just build courses, but designs experiences that people can feel, remember, and apply. And joining Monica is Prasoon Nigam, CTO and co-founder at Stratbeats, and a leading Articulate expert in India. Prasoon brings deep product knowledge of the Articulate 360 ecosystem from storyline, RISE, AI assistant, and localization. His perspective is especially valuable because he does not look at Articulate as just a course building toolkit. He sees it as a modern learning workflow for enterprise teams, where creativity, AI, localization, quality review, and learner impact all need to work together. Monica and Prasoon, welcome to the podcast, and this is going to be a fascinating conversation.
Thank you, Darusha. I'm really looking forward to this talk with Monica. Monica, welcome.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for all of those to be here today.
It's great meeting you again, Monica. So I'll start the conversation with you because your topic feels very 2026. AI can create content at crazy speed, but not every output becomes a real learning experience. As a creator, where do you personally draw the line between smart AI support and just mindless content culture?
Love that question because, to be honest, in 2026, those of us in LD are under immersive pressures. We are constantly measured by numbers like how many courses did you ship this month or what's your completion rate, right? And all in the industry wants to be the AI first. So I think AI can throw an all new course in 2 minutes to hit that code. But that's exactly where I draw the line. If we are just using the AI to copy and paste generic text into a boring slide on template just to check the box, we aren't teaching anything. Let's be real, learners today already know how to use AI if they have a question about policy or process they want way to take our e-learning. They just open the AI chat and their own asked for the quick summary. For me, smart supports means using AI as a brainstorm partner or to solve heavy technical headaches. Like helping you with a program complex variables or writing a JavaScript, sniping in storyline to push the limits of the screen. Just manless content is just automatically deploying text and expecting people to care. Right now, I'm working on a compliance project with under 100 of busy people just told me, I don't have time for your course. If you don't hook them from a strategic and narrative standpoint, they simply never going to open your course. So
To add to what Monica said, it's very true because she herself is a practitioner, and with all the tools, that is true. Uh, if you have a toolbox with a hammer and so many other tools, a screwdriver, it is up to the person who is holding that box what you can do. So with all the power of AI, with all the traditional power of the tool, the real challenge is that one is that we should not forget that e-learning has to be designed for a purpose of somebody learning out of it. So how best we can use that tool? I mean, that is what Monica has also highlighted. It's not number of your completions or just using AI first, but the purpose should not be lost. I think that is the key point that I got with what Monica is saying, and that resonates so well. Yeah.
Right. I think it's a great start to our conversation because I also feel that a tool is as good as the user is. So everything ultimately turns up to the user, how they are making the best use of it or even the worst use of it, as we call AI slope that is trending everywhere. So, Prasoon, I'll like to bring this conversation to you now because as an Articulate 360 products expert, I would really like to understand how do you see tools like Articulate 360 and all the components that are there, how are they helping the L&D teams move beyond speed? And what does a good use of Articulate AI look to you? And not from just a feature demo perspective, but from an actual learning and design and business impact perspective.
So Tanusha, one of the biggest misconception around AI is that primary value is speed. Speed comes because a human cannot do it as fast as machine can. So the acceleration that AI gives you is definitely very high. That is where the whole speed concept is coming in. The human is being replaced or is voluntarily replacing himself with the AI because it gives you high speed. But human is in control, and the job of that person is to give it direction. So speed actually is the easiest benefit that we see. So anytime you open Articulate 360, anyway, even before AI, the features were so well designed, and now with AI, it has accelerated. So real question is the speed that AI is giving you. You are left with a lot of time at your disposal. Now, how do you reinvest that time? What do you do with the time is very important. So in my view, that Articulate AI is not for creating more courses. It is more for creating better learning experiences. So with the tool that is available, the first benefit you can get is in the creational part. So can you use AI to really create your first draft of the course outline? Can you create that outline? Once AI does it for you, it will also help you with putting a knowledge check or helping refine your storyboard in a minute. Like Monica also said that all these things can happen in a minute. So the instructional designer who is responsible for this delivery, can spend time, on things which are actually very important for driving the learning outcomes. Things like, what are the different learner engagement you can bring in, what kind of scenario you can now it's up to your imagination. Can you start navigating that AI and bring things which are of great use to the end user? Can you go to the, let's say, the graphic side of it? Now you're not limited. You can choose a very matching, befitting visuals. So you need to now spice it up, and that is where the beyond speed, the time has to be spent. So what I see as a problem because of AI's dashing speed, that people sometimes don't come back and finish their due. So AI has done the part well. Now it is just prompt after prompt people expect, but it's always human in the loop, right? So it's like turn by turn you play. Let AI, you give the direction to AI, it has done something, please go ahead and check it and make it. So that way the quality of output will be verified, will be very at a level which will be super impressive for your end users. Particularly what excites me about the Articulate ecosystem is that it is AI is embedded not just for your creation of initial draft. It's a broader workflow. It addresses a lot of your problem. Like, let's count, of course you have to get some support by your storyboarding, so that is already there. But then as you move forward, you require multimedia support, that's there. Then you require a support in terms of choosing right audio, translations that you can do. You may want to create a voiceover somewhere. All that is embedded. So it becomes this a platform where you can create immersive experiences, because see, immersive experiences are multimodal, which means it is not just about the text. It is a mixture of couple of things coming together. And Articulate is super well designed. Even if what I find most interesting is that you have two routes. One is the storyline route. So you can choose Articulate storyline, and it can give you much more interactive powers, much more immersive, interactive experiences. While on the other side, you could be a RISE user, and in which case the premise is that you could rapidly create consistent design, the form factors, and in both the tools and technology, AI assistant is continuously available at your service. Where I find the biggest benefit, because that is where the highest pain has been, which is localization. Now, if you look at the philosophy, it was never like a point tool approach. What we have done with Articulate is that we have solved that problem at a broader level. So beyond speed, if you have to really localize, you don't have to go through all the pain of creating various versions of translation, then sharing your file in some disconnected way to your collaborators, to your reviewers. Everything has been integrated well, like a nice and tight framework. And that's where things are going beyond speed. It is more about efficiency, it is more about quality, because speed is one dimension, but quality, efficiency, and finally the power of the deliverable. Did this e-learning do? Imagine this is a compliance course. When it is given to people, is it that they are getting attracted towards it? Are they happy to see it? Are they gaining value? Are they interacting? So all those considerations are not really a speed consideration. So yeah, it reduces your production effort huge, in a big way. It's like 50% of your production effort can easily be reduced. But please reinvest that 50% of your time into creative sides. Figure out something you are doing in 2D. Now you can have a 3D representation of something. So use that time to really level up your learning experiences, and that is what I see as the biggest benefit that is available beyond speed in Articulate. That is where the real ROI really exists.
think totally resonate with your point here, Prasoon, because ultimately, whatever upskilling that needs to be done is to be done by the user or the learner themselves. There will be all the tools available, but until unless you take the onus on yourself to develop your skills or upskill yourself, I think this is the point where AI can be very useful and if used in the measured amounts. So, coming to you, Monica, now, because you come from Mexico and it's just early morning for you. We understand that point as well. And we understand that Mexico is a place with such a strong visual and storytelling culture. So, do you feel that your creative background has somehow shaped the way that you design your digital learnings? Like, is there a connection? And how do culture, emotion, and design identity show up in your work? Any examples if you can share with us today?
Okay, being from Mexico completely changed how I looked at digital design. Our culture is incredibly visual, warm, and built on the storytelling. But the reality is that in life in Mexico, this always move at crazy. Everyone is running around the streets, stressed. So for me, digital learning needs to be a break, a space where users can unwind, disconnect, and actually have a good time just while learning, like when we were kids, right? We just playing all the time to learn. No, we learn playing. So I think it's great to be on your job and you can just have 5 or 50 minutes to try to resolve something. I think that is important because the people just need to disconnect for a few minutes and learn something in the past. So, and I don't say that design needs to be always a video game with 3D graphics and every single time. It's about knowing how to listen your audience and seeing what drives them. It could be something softly, like how the Starbucks app hooks you into a collection stars rewards, and people can have a lot of meeting in the day, but they have 50 minutes or 20 minutes to go to Starbucks, have your star, and come back with your coffee for your office. So they have time. Just we need to help them in the correct experience for them. So I'm always fighting to kill boring slides, and that's mechanical click next culture. Look at this slide. Look at this way. No one is going to remember 5 dry bullet points about cybersecurity on an static screen or a PDF just reading. No, but everyone knows exactly who won the football match last week. Why? Because there are emotion, passion, and a story behind that. So that is exactly the warmth I try to inject in the corporate learning. Just 5 minutes to play and learn something. I think so. Yeah, and I think something about that person say in the last question. I think it's very, very important to don't forget that AI can build everything. But if you don't know the process, AI doesn't matter. The final product needs you to have this process and these ideas, and we love Articulate. So it's a tool that can bring you your imagination for build everything. Now with the AI, before they do it, so now with the AI, they open the door for an imaginations, things, experience, real experience. So I think it's awesome.
Totally. I think a great point raised here about the emotional aspect of all the work that we do, because people would not remember what all they were reading, but they would actually remember the impact or the feeling that they have had while they were doing that course and how great they felt after completing that, which I feel, Monica, a lot of your learners would feel, because I think you do make them with a lot of passion and with a lot of creativity in you. But having said that, I would also like to know, Monica, have you ever been to India, or Prasoon, have you ever been to Mexico? Like, is there any connection here so far?
So Monica will for sure will invite me. I hope now we are friends. So sometime when there is a opportunity, I'm kind of forcing my invite on her. But yes, I have not been to Mexico, but I had friends. Again from the same network, the whole Articulate network partners. So I very I remember. That from Mexico I had this friend again from our Articulate community, and what a sense of humor and common taste for food, because these two countries both can handle spice quite well. So yeah, I'll make sure that this weekend I at least have some Mexican food for this memory.
Monica, any plans of traveling to India?
I want, but I don't know. I
So-
never been there, but I saw in the movies. It's the good place.
But do you let's have some quiz. So do you know any Indian food? Have you ever been exposed to any Indian food? Have you tried any Indian food anytime?
In Mexico, we have restaurants, but you never know if it's real because it's like a Japanese or like a sushi, right? Here in Mexico, we have a sushi with fruits, or no. So I think in Japan it doesn't
So,
have.
There
Prasoon,
is
I think
something known as butter chicken, which is very popular in India. In fact, it is internationally very popular, especially in Europe. It is very popular. Butter chicken.
Yeah, I think I'm being in a restaurant, and but I love they cook great.
great. So, Prasoon, I think we also have to extend an invite to Monica whenever it's there. You are most welcome to visit us. It would be a pleasure. But
Most
having
welcome. Yep.
for now, we are in this podcast. So, Prasoon, I think we can give her a glimpse of the flavor of India in the L&D industry. So, because she spoke about Mexico and the culture there and how people behave and how everything is done. But in India, we have completely different kind of scale. We have different languages that changes like every kilometer, or every time there's a new dialect. Everything changes with new regions. There are different learner profiles and there are different digital maturity levels still in this country. So from your Articulate expertise, how can the tools like Storyline, Rise, Localization, how can they help the Indian L&D teams create learnings that feel less translated and feel more local and relevant to them? Or any such examples that you might have experienced during your work experience like this? So would love to know that from you.
So, taking my cue from what Monica mentioned, that Mexico, the life is, everybody's running. There's a little bit of a controlled chaos. So we match there with when it comes to India, we match that. But one thing where India has its own lovely chaos is the number of languages that people speak in this country. If my understanding is correct, in Mexico mostly Spanish is the language which would broadly cover everyone. But here, as it is said, that every 50 kilometers you go, something changes in the language or dialect. And then there are many more kilometers in India to cover, and languages changes in a big way. And it does present a very fascinating type of a learning challenge, I will say that. So we are not designing it for one audience. If there is a learning that has to go, and it is of a scale such that it has to incorporate most of the people across India, then you really have to do a lot of work in terms of designing it for dozens of audiences simultaneously, different languages, regions, educational background, your job role, even your digital maturity. All those things kind of roll into that. And I think this is many time discussed, very oft discussed thing, that localization is not same as translation, because through localization you can actually normalize it for emotional experience part of learning, because everybody have their own local experiences, local jokes, local heroes, local context. So they are experiencing the experiences in the context, so if you are able to give to those people not just a verbal translation but change of context, then you see the success going to a very high level in terms of people understanding and relating with it. In a recent podcast, I was talking to a learning head of a large university in India, and I was amazed because they are profusely using Articulate to solve that problem, of in education sector. People are coming from different background. Maybe there is a learner from Bangalore, which is in south part of India, because Monica would not know, so I will also do a mini geography class here. Then there is Jaipur, which would be on a very different side, Chennai, Guwahati. So people come from different places, Punjab, and they speak different languages, and you use different examples. Now, where I see, that Articulate localization capability is actually transformational, is that, and trust me, this is exactly the same thing this learning head told me, that instead of maintaining separate course versions manually, teams can now efficiently localize while preserving the design consistency. So this goes beyond translation. So Storyline and Rise, they allow organizations to adapt these scenarios, example, visual, voiceovers, assessment. One thing he mentioned was pretty striking. He said that they chose a voice from the options available in the Articulate suite, and it was chosen because it sounded authoritative. And that is such a beautiful point, because voice has such a role to play. So even if you look at top leaders of the country, the presidents and the prime minister, a lot of the oratory skill, what kind of voice you have matters, and those are subtle phenomena that even work in e-learning. So the kind of voice you're using, is it familiar? Is it fitting the kind of a context that in which the e-learning has been created? You are more authority, you want a more podcast kind of a feel. All those options are available, and we have seen this similar phenomena. If you see Tanusha and Monica, I mean, in Netflix also, right? So people just don't want just a subtitle change. Sometimes they want the experiences that are specifically designed for them. So there are a lot of series which try to do that, and learning is no different. So future is not just multilingual learning, it is, the word I would say is culturally intelligent learning. And organizations that will, that they want higher engagement, higher recall for their learner, that they are able to, after they've done the training, they have higher recall, beyond better completion rates. This localization, using the horsepower of localization is so important, because this leads to tremendous business outcomes. We have seen in so many use cases, where business outcomes have been there because now this training, and thanks to Articulate in that part, it had made it easy. You're no more in ransom of your voiceover artist you know. Of course, still everybody is working together, but it allows a better collaboration. You could do most of your work without dependence. Lot of independence it creates. And of course, we have to interact with people. You still have to get a, maybe a translation artist to look at the content and collaborate and suggest. So like I said, human cannot be removed from the loop. It's all human. But I mean, these are super wonderful technologies, as I see, which allow the localization problem for even a country like India. And this is not limited to India. Look at Europe, so many different languages, and sometimes for compliance reasons you have to do a course in English, but then also in Spanish or French. So yeah, I think for people who already used it, I have only seen that they have only vouched by it, that I have had the best testimonial for people who have really used it and who have trained themselves to use it in the best way. So yeah, Tanisha, so that is how I see it.
I think the example of Prasoon that you have shared, it's just held on me, because not only just corporates, even the universities and the education sector is greatly benefiting from it, because eventually the people who are working in the corporates, they are coming from the education. They will be the future working in those corporate sectors. So I think that is really useful. And Prasoon, I remember one time you also shared this story about the dependency on the voiceover artist, that you had to babysit the child as well. So I think there are so many stories in the past that used to happen, but now that has also been eliminated. So do you remember that, about that lady where you had to babysit her
Oh
child?
yeah, that's a very interesting story. And these were those early days when we had this e-learning to deliver to a large semiconductor company, and they had this requirement of Chinese language and Taiwanese language. And in those days, you had to catch hold of somebody who is an expert in that language. So in India, in Delhi, I found an artist, and she was working in a university, and she was anyway strapped out of time. So I had to really chase for, her for, getting some time slot. So project started to get very critical, and this recording had to be done because my client was after me. So I called her up and she says, you know what, I'm busy, and you, if you want it done, then you better come to my house here, and I'll record it for whatever time I have. It was let's just say it was a ransom situation for me. So we booked a cab, we reached her home, and the most fun part was that she was holding a baby, a cute baby indeed, maybe 1.5 year old, and she had a rattle. So she says that, you know what, this baby is troubling me. You know how kids are. I said, yeah, for sure. And then she says, can you hold this rattle and the kid? She's a nice, kid. She's very friendly. So hold her, and I'll go to the other room and record. So I had to literally. It was beautiful. It was a very cute kid, and I was using the rattle to pacify. Hope I did my job well. But nonetheless, after that, she came back. The recording was done. So you have to do so much. You have to go so many miles. See, look how beautiful AI is.
No
AI would
babysitting
not
required.
share their personal problems, even if they have. They will not give you a rattle. They will only give you free times. Use that as a rattle. Find something creative for yourself. But yeah, that story stays with me, and I am so grateful that this revolution of AI has happened. And I think, Monica, even you would say that there may be side effects, but if you really know your purpose, and if you've gone through the sufferings, it's magic, right?
Right. I think great story to recollect here as well. And coming to you, Monica, I think during our last conversation, I also recall that you also mentioned about your team members or your colleagues from different countries as well. So that experience, how have you been collaborating with them, or how these tools are helpful for you? Anything you want to share here?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because there we have cultures total difference. So, in my job, we have Argentine people, and we have Chinese people, and for Spain, and in the USA and in Canada. So they are in all the world, but here in Mexico we have a thing that I think changed our mindset. I think in Mexico we have this dubbing. I don't know how to say doblaje phenomenon, because in Mexico they have personalized idioms for here. So you can saw a movie that have a Mexican language, and they have words is just in Mexico. So we have empathy with that. So if we can change this for the learning, I think we can connect for all the people in the better way.
As well, you work with people across different time zones and different nationalities. So I think these are the things that are really helpful for everyone, given all the situations and all of the collaboration that goes on worldwide. But having said that, Monica, I think I have one more question for you, because as a creator and as a storyteller, and most importantly, our Articulate Hackathon winner, I really want to know what is that one advice or one message that you would give to the learning designers who want to use AI boldly, but still want to protect the emotion and the originality that that makes their e-learning totally unforgettable. Because at the end of the day, the emotion that you always try to capture in your learning platforms or in your learning services, like everything you try to deliver, emotion comes there, but we really want to understand how you want to give them an advice or a message.
I think remember when you was a kid. That experience, it's important, because someone else in another, maybe you have 5 years in your job, but you can create something for someone that it's your first day. So remember, what do you want to know the first day did you be there? No? How it feels? What do you want to know for your boss? No? Can you want your boss come to you and told you, oh, this is A, this is B, and this is C. Thank you. Or what do you want for that? Imagine that person in the past to can build something new for someone else. No? And don't be afraid about the AI. It's terrible to be afraid for something that is now in our lives all day, in all the moments. So I think use the AI to take the data and they give it to the AI and analyze that data with the AI, that you can create new things for all the type of audience we have, because we don't have one type of audience. We have a lot of audience that have passion difference and motivation difference, and they want to be engaged in different quadrants of their learning. So let the AI have the heavy lifting of development and metrics tracking, so you have more time to think about empathy, games, mechanics, and human connection. Let the AI be the track, but you must direct the journey.
Great sharing. But having said that, because now we have established that you are our Articulate Hackathon winner, I really want to, take you back to the past where you first started using all of these tools, and there was this introduction of AI into e-learning creations and everything. How was your first experience? Did you get overwhelmed by it, or was it a smooth ride for you? How did you feel? Because a lot of our audience would also, there will be so many people who are also just starting. So anything that you would like to share with them from your experience?
I think I have a lot of curiosity for things. So When I started to use Articulate, it was because my boss told me I'm actually don't be a instructional designer. I'm an interactive animator, digital animator. So when my boss told me, "Oh, we need this," I started to use Articulate, and I say, maybe it's like a PowerPoint. I can understand it. So I start just tasting, right? So if you can see, my English is not perfect, so everything, all the material for the Articulate was in English. So I just be days or like I don't understand. I can say it again and again and again and again. So I just tasting a lot. I have a lot of projects that doesn't work. Fortunately, my boss just told me, okay, it's fine, try again. So okay, I try different. So I think that it's important. Just have curiosity for the tools you want to learn, or the how to, because maybe you don't know the tool. Maybe you have the idea, but you don't know what is the tool for your job or for your project. Just have curiosity. We have it.
I think it's good that the curiosity that you had, it led to your success in this field and in this domain as well. So it's so great to hear about that story, Monica, as well.
So what I found very impressive, and it's so data driven, odds were all against Monica, because I can understand the documentation would be in English for the tool, and she comes from a different creative side. It was not really a instructional design background. But then too, if you're motivated enough, any tool, technology, even if it is a non-technology thing, the passion is the thing. Look at the childlike excitement she has when she's talking about the project she has worked on. And of course, that also links with the fact why she won the hackathon, because of the passion. Well, that was very evident in the work. And of course, not just passion, a strong command on her skill sets. So of course, just passion would not do. It would also be that you need to have certain sharpness in certain area, and then when you have it, these are amplifiers. All the tools, AI, non-AI, have been amplifiers. If you are really motivated at it, if you are at anything, doors will open and you will create excellent output. So very impressive story there, Monica.
Right. I think as closing, Prasoon, I would also like to ask the same question to you, because from your lens as an Articulate expert, what is that one advice or message that you would give to the L&D teams that have began using AI or want to start using it boldly, but still they don't want to lose the essence of the quality, creativity, and localization accuracy? What would be that message from your end?
So the message and my advice would be simple. One is that you have to use AI as a co-pilot, which means AI sits here, you sit here, and you work together, just like how people, how pilots do really. There are two co-pilots and they interact. You're interdependent and you're doing your own job. Not that one pilot is steering the aircraft, so other would say, okay, brother is taking care of, why don't I doze off, and when I land I'll wake up. So that responsibility. Now the word you're using is how to use something boldly, AI boldly. Now sometimes boldness without preparation, without skilling, leads to accidents. And I would use my favorite analogy in that part, that if you look at a kid imagine a 10-year-old kid. That kid surely has mastered, he knows all the alphabets, words. He's a 10-year-old. He would know A for apple, B for bat, of course. He's a big kid. And, C for cat. But suppose I give him a car to drive. That would be risky for him. Because ABC in a car is different. A for accelerator, B for brake, C for clutch. And you need to know these new ABCs. Now just imagine, I'm not going to do it. It will be silly to do that. If I make a small kid drive the car just because he loves the car, what are you setting it for? So car would respond. If you press the accelerator, it will speed up. But if you're a small kid who does not know the dynamics of how to use this power or the magic, whatever be your word, it is bound to hurt that kid and people around and the car itself. So that's again a guideline. Thankfully, AI would not mechanically do it, but it can create very similar effects. So one thing is that you still have to be skilled to a certain level to qualify to use AI boldly. Now, how to use AI boldly? AI is incredible at generating possibilities. Can I do this way? Can it be done that way? Humans remain very good in decision making. Of course, if you're skilled, it's kind of marked with that fact. And AI would generate something in a minute, super impressive, we will love it. But the idea was your learners, if they don't remember anything, are they going to give you credits for generating it so quickly? So speed without a purpose. Again, the car analogy. Car is a device which takes you from place A to place B. There is a destination. So a speeding car which was meant to go north now goes south very fast. Good music, good wind, you're enjoying. When you reach the destination, you're at the wrong place. So keeping the end journey in mind continuously so that it remains meaningful. And how to do that? 3-step approach. When you're talking about e-learning and articulate-driven frameworks, first step is the level 1, the layer 1 is your first drafts. Accelerate your researches through AI. The outlines will be generated, assessments, translation, initial content generation. Use that. Second layer would be the skill set that is there. Instructional design judgment becomes very important. Ask question, interact with that system. Don't just give in because it has created, looks good, so it must be good. No. Your job, AI job was to be a maker, your job is to be a checker. So check whether the thing that is created is relevant. Is it accurate also or not? Because you all know this big H for hallucination. So is it not hallucinating? Is it creating facts which is very good for a fiction story but may not be real for the content you are making? Correct those things. Look at it and look at, is it solving the learning objectives? The performance problem, if you are solving, is it solving that performance problem for which you have built it? When you look at it, is it creating an engagement? Is it allowing you to reflect? So when you talk about reflecting, it will help you build your assessments. So make use of instructional design judgment in a co-pilot approach. And third is specifically for large companies where there are compliances, companies there's a need to localize. So again, the same thing, if you're a large global organization, please never assume that machine generated localization is production ready. How can it be? And that is, at least from an AI point of view, that stage has not yet come, and it better be so, because that will keep the human element very relevant. So use Articulate localization. You take your process, you involve more reviewers if you have to understand the language, culture, and business context. Collaborate with them if there are people who know about it. So the organization that will win with AI are not the one who are generating, let's say, lots of content. It's all about lots of experience. So my last line is that AI gives you this 10x speed, right? This whole F1 kind of a high speed, this excitement. So your responsibility is not to generate 10x more slides. It is that you have to somehow steer as a human to generate that 10x more learner impact. So 10x that you earn through speed has to be redeemed back to the learner in terms of 10x more impact, 10x better experience which the person remembers. So don't forget the destination where we have to go. Enjoy the speed, but don't go south when you have to go north. So that's the learning, I think, and the framework that I'll pass on to people in the industry who are using these tools.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing that, Prasoon. And what a powerful conversation we had today. And I think the biggest takeaway that I personally took from this conversation is if our thinking is weak, essentially, AI will simply help us to create weak content, and that would be done faster. But when strong learning design, storytelling, product capability, and human judgment also comes together, AI can help us build experiences that are faster, smarter, more inclusive, and far more memorable. And I think that is exactly the crux of the conversation that we had. And specifically, Monica, thank you for reminding us that learning design is still deeply human, very emotional. It still needs those context, creativities, and the most important word would be empathy that I took from your sharing today. So thank you so much for joining us. And I think the one thing that Prasoon also reminded us is that the right tools and workflows can help teams scale that creativity with proper structure, quality, and enterprise readiness. And that is the real future of learning and development. So thank you, Monica and Prasoon, for joining us today. And to everyone listening us, stay connected with StratBeans and Articulate community as we continue exploring how AI, creativity, and learning technology are shaping the next chapter of digital learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tarusha. You've been a great host here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Monica. Have a good day ahead, and we look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you.